Hello you people out there in YouTube land. How do you do? So, what are we going to do today? We're just going to do a bit of exploring. No fixed plan. We will see, what we can find as we are walking around. How about that? Oh, where are we now? Alexandria Road. It's over there. There. This is Alexandria Road. Tanglin Road is over there. So let's go to Tanglin Road. So let's do a bit of walk. In the background you can see the MRT. The MRT is heading to Red Hill MRT station. And then over here at this junction is Tanglin Road. Yep, we're gonna head down that direction after we cross the traffic light. And we are coming up to the Alexandria Canal. I did a video about the canal previously. In a previous adventure, we followed the Alexandria Canal and it went underground, and then went that way. So we went that way and we walked and walked a lot until we couldn't walk anymore. So this time we're just going someplace else a bit different. That way. Beside me now is Masjid Jamek, Queenstown. This is a mosque along Tanglin Road, an old mosque, and down that direction is Tanglin Road, where we're heading. And on my left now, if I'm not mistaken, is the Salvation Army. And then further up is some buildings. But in the past, during British colonial times, this area here, Tanglin area, used to be a huge plantation where they grew the cash crop of the time. Spices like gambia, pepper, sirih. And so this area here in the past used to be huge plantations. And on my right here, if I'm not mistaken, that is the Brunei Darussalam Embassy, the High Commission of Brunei. So people who want to go to Brunei, who needs to get a visa or immigration stuff, can come here to inquire. And this place also plays into the place that we're going to today, which I've decided where we are going to. Over here is called Phoenix Park. So Phoenix Park was the headquarters of the British administration in Southeast Asia. It houses key agencies such as the Security Intelligence Far East Command, and the Office of Commissioner General of Southeast Asia. So in the past, Tanglin, this whole area used to be plantations, and then nowadays it is more of, how do I say, more of an area where there's a lot of old bungalows. So on my right here is like one of the examples of the classical pre-World War II black and white bungalows that is scattered all around Singapore. And as you can see, there are different types of these type of mansions all along the road, all around this area here, and also modern mansions. And this whole area here now is considered a area where they have good quality bungalows. That means areas with lots and lots of bungalows. A luxurious location to live. But what caught my eye is this name of this road here. It's called Tanglin Hill. So this area here in the past was popular as a plantation because there were various hills around this area here. So because of proper water irrigation, it was a good place to have plantations because of the hilly area. And since this is the hill, we should go up the hill and see what we can see atop the hill. And as you can see, lots of bungalows here. And look at the hill. There's actually a hill here, so there's actually a slight slope going upwards from here, all the way up that direction. So let's head to the top and see what we can find. And at the top here, there's this interesting area here. There's a restricted empty land on my right here, and an abandoned area up ahead. So surrounded by high-end private residential, large mansions, posh cars, expensive living, there is this abandoned compound. It's like a school, but it wasn't a school. And people were caught trespassing here even last year. So this place here is actually the Tanglin Hill Brunei Hostel. In the early 50s, Singapore education system, which was set up by the British, was of a higher standard than a lot of countries in Southeast Asia. So some of the countries sent their brightest students to Singapore to study. So this place here was the hostel for gifted Brunei students to come to Singapore to study, paid for by the government. Paid for by their government. And they all stayed here. And as you can see, this place here doesn't look good. It's very rundown, but the day I came here, there were actually people clearing up the location, clearing up the underbush. Completed in 1958, it was called the Asrama Kerajaan Brunei, the Singapura, or simply the Tanglin Brunei Hostel. And they actually built a block, an extra block behind there for extra students that came later, which they built a few years later. And if you zoom in now, you can actually see the block behind there. Unfortunately, this place closed down in 1983 when Brunei, their system of education got better, and then they stopped sending their students here to study. So this place here has been closed to the public and is still owned by the Brunei government. This is the back view. I actually went around the complex and came to the back here. You can actually see some of the old buildings from here. And this place has been closed to the public for around 37 years. And it's been overgrown by vegetation and it's not well maintained. Its future unknown. And please remember, this is a private property. Do not go inside there and explore because trespassing is a crime. What really surprised me is nearby, as I was walking, suddenly it felt like I time warped into another time, another place. Because, first of all, what happened to the sidewalk? And then look at the houses here. They don't make houses like this anymore. Even though you have modern cars passing by, but the buildings, look at this, all the buildings here, all so unfamiliar, all like we jumped into a time portal and went back in time, in space. It's like we went back to maybe rural England. Yep, this doesn't look familiar at all. So what happens is we are actually at the Loewen cluster, which is over here, where there are like old buildings, and this place here is actually part of the Dempsey Hill. So Dempsey Hill is a huge plot of land which was bought by the British, I think in the 1850s, and they subsequently built an army barracks here, army camp here, to house British soldiers. And then later when the British left, the Singapore Army moved in here right up till 1989. And then later this place was abandoned, and then now it's a nice little cluster of old houses like this, old colonial British army structures, where it used to be barracks, it used to be offices, it used to be hospitals, you know, all stuff for army use. And these old buildings, nowadays, they use it for more modern purposes. Like here is a kindergarten, and then other activities places, restaurants. So this place here, in the past, military use, now more for recreational use. Yes, so it's a posh place, and definitely a step out of time. A place very non-modern Singapore. Very different types of buildings, architecture, and huge empty fields. So as you travel around, you'll notice, first of all, huge empty fields, huge spaces, you know, where huge fields are, and then also narrow roads, and then old buildings. Look at this. Like I said, this place don't look like Singapore anymore. Also now this place is a popular place for F&B. A lot of restaurants, a lot of small little businesses here. Bars, restaurants, places to eat, exhibition, hip areas to come, cafes, bistros, restaurants, and a few other businesses. So a very in place for the hip people, the young people, the yuppies to come and eat and drink. So this was Dempsey Hill, and unfortunately this ends our adventure here today. We saw a few interesting things, a few forgotten things, and a place that don't look like Singapore. Where was I? I don't know. I think I got lost again. I somehow ended up in Europe, UK or Australia or somewhere. Anyway, so that was Dempsey Hill. As per usual, you know what to do. Like, share and subscribe if you have not done so. Also click the bell icon. If not, you know, I will not be able to do YouTube anymore, and you have to go to these weird places all by yourself. I also have Patreon, I also have PayPal. You can support me on those too, or alternatively, you can just watch some of my old videos. I got lots of old videos about hawker food. I've been to around 70% of the hawker stores, hawker food centers in Singapore. Yeah, you can find out information about food before you go there. And lastly, but the most important thing, don't forget to join me for my next adventure. I will see you guys around. Okay, so if you do notice, there I have two little marks here. Yeah, it looks like a vampire bite. Okay, so I waited a few days. I still haven't turned into a vampire yet. So it could be two things. Either I'm immune to vampire bites, or somehow the vampire died before it killed me. Yep. So I suspect, this is my theory, this is my hypothesis. My blood is so rich in cholesterol that it killed the vampire. Yes, the vampire got too fatty blood and died. So I guess it doesn't pay to be a vampire around me.